In this episode, we start with the people side of change management, because changes do not become safer just because someone fills out a form. A change can touch systems, users, data, business processes, security controls, and recovery plans all at the same time. That means the right people need to understand what is being changed, why it is being changed, who is responsible for it, and who could be affected if it goes wrong. This is where change advisory boards, approvals, ownership, and stakeholders come in. These ideas may sound administrative, but they are really about reducing blind spots. When you are new to security, it can be tempting to focus only on the technical change itself. But a firewall rule, cloud permission, software update, or application deployment becomes much safer when the right people review the risk before it reaches production. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A Change Advisory Board, CAB, is a group that reviews proposed changes before they are approved and carried out. The word board may make it sound formal, and sometimes it is, but the basic idea is straightforward. A CAB brings together people who can look at a change from different angles. One person may understand the network. Another may understand the application. Another may understand the business process. Another may understand security risk, customer impact, or support concerns. The goal is not to let a committee slow everything down just because it can. The goal is to catch problems that one person might miss. If a proposed change could affect important systems, sensitive data, or user access, it deserves review by people who understand the possible consequences. The value of a CAB comes from perspective. The person requesting a change may be focused on solving one problem, and that is understandable. Maybe an application needs a new connection. Maybe users need faster access. Maybe a server needs an update. Maybe a security setting needs to be tightened. But every change has a wider environment around it. A network change might affect an application dependency. A cloud permission change might expose data. A patch might break an older system. A new authentication rule might lock out users who were not prepared for the change. When different people review the request, they can ask questions the requester may not have considered. That review helps turn individual knowledge into shared awareness before the change causes trouble. Approvals are the formal decision points in the change process. An approval means someone with the right responsibility has reviewed the change and accepted that it should move forward. That should not be treated as a rubber stamp. A good approval confirms that the request is clear, the purpose makes sense, the risk has been considered, testing has been addressed, affected people have been identified, and recovery has been planned. You should think of approval as accountability attached to a decision. If a change touches a critical system, the approval should come from someone who has the authority and context to accept that risk. If a change touches sensitive data, the person approving it should understand the data impact. Approval matters because security decisions should not happen casually or invisibly. Not every change needs the same level of approval. A small, routine, low-risk change may follow a simpler path than a major change to a critical production system. This is important because change management should be practical. If every tiny update requires the same heavy process as a major system migration, people may become frustrated and look for shortcuts. At the same time, if risky changes are treated as routine, the organization may miss serious consequences. A strong change process matches the approval level to the risk. A normal change might follow a standard review path. A major change might require broader approval and more planning. An emergency change might move faster because the risk of waiting is greater, but it should still be documented and reviewed afterward. Ownership is the part that makes responsibility clear. A change owner is the person responsible for guiding the change through the process. That does not mean the owner does every task personally. It means the owner makes sure the change is described clearly, reviewed properly, scheduled appropriately, communicated to the right people, and completed or backed out as needed. Without ownership, changes can drift. One team may think another team handled testing. One person may think communication was already sent. Someone may assume rollback is another group's problem. Clear ownership reduces those gaps. When a change has an owner, there is a person accountable for keeping the work coordinated. That coordination matters because many change failures come from confusion, not from deep technical complexity. Ownership also helps during and after the change. During the change, someone needs to know whether the work is proceeding as expected, whether a decision point has been reached, and whether the plan should continue. If something goes wrong, the owner helps coordinate the response. Should the team continue? Should the change be backed out? Should a different group be contacted? Should users be notified? After the change, the owner helps confirm whether the result matched the plan. Did the system work? Were security controls still functioning? Were users affected? Was documentation updated? These questions may sound basic, but they prevent a dangerous situation where everyone assumes success simply because the change window ended. Ownership keeps the change from becoming an unmanaged handoff. Stakeholders are the people or groups affected by a change or responsible for part of its success. A stakeholder might be a system owner, business manager, application team, security team, help desk, customer support group, compliance team, data owner, or user group. You should not think of stakeholders only as executives or managers. A stakeholder is anyone whose work, risk, responsibility, or system could be affected. If a change modifies how users sign in, the help desk is a stakeholder because it may receive support calls. If a change affects sensitive data, the data owner is a stakeholder because that person or group understands how the data should be protected. If a change affects a public application, customer support may be a stakeholder because customers may notice the impact first. Identifying stakeholders early prevents surprise. Surprise is one of the enemies of safe change. If the support team does not know about a sign-in change, it may not be ready to help users. If the security team does not know about a new network connection, it may not know how to monitor it. If the business owner does not know about planned downtime, the change may happen during an important business period. If the compliance team does not know about a data handling change, a requirement may be missed. Good change management asks who needs to know before the change happens, who needs to approve it, who needs to support it, and who needs to validate the result. That simple habit can prevent confusion from becoming risk. Business impact is one reason stakeholders matter so much. A technical team may describe a change in terms of servers, ports, rules, updates, or services. A business stakeholder may understand the same change in terms of customers, revenue, deadlines, patient care, classes, payroll, or public access. Both views are needed. A change that looks small technically may have a large business effect if it touches the wrong process at the wrong time. Restarting a system may seem routine until you learn that it supports a live event, an end-of-month close, or a time-sensitive service. Security needs this business context because risk is not only about whether a system is vulnerable. Risk is also about what happens to the organization if the system fails, exposes data, or behaves incorrectly. Technical impact is just as important. The technical stakeholders can help identify dependencies that may not be obvious. An application may depend on a database, a certificate, a service account, a network path, a domain name system, DNS, record, or a third-party service. If a change breaks one dependency, the visible failure may appear somewhere else. That is why technical review is more than asking whether the change itself looks correct. It includes asking what other systems rely on this one, what security controls might be affected, what logs should be watched, what performance impact could appear, and what recovery steps would be needed. When technical stakeholders are included, the change is less likely to run into hidden connections that nobody considered. Security impact needs its own attention because a change can quietly weaken protection even when the business function still works. A new access rule may solve a user problem but grant more permission than needed. A monitoring change may reduce alert noise but accidentally hide important events. A cloud setting may make sharing easier but expose data too broadly. A temporary exception may help with troubleshooting but remain in place long after the need has passed. Security stakeholders help ask whether the change affects confidentiality, integrity, availability, identity, logging, segmentation, encryption, or recovery. This review is not about saying no to every change. It is about making sure the change solves the real problem without creating an unnecessary security gap. Approval workflows help keep all of this organized. A workflow defines how a change moves from request to review, approval, scheduling, implementation, validation, and closure. You do not need to imagine this as complicated software. At the concept level, it is simply the path a change follows. A good workflow makes sure the right information is captured and the right people are involved at the right time. It can also help separate duties so the person requesting a risky change is not the only person approving it. That separation matters because people naturally focus on their own goals and may miss wider risk. A workflow creates consistency. It helps the organization avoid making every change decision from scratch, under pressure, with no clear standard. The conclusion is that change advisory boards, approvals, ownership, and stakeholders make change management safer by bringing responsibility and perspective into the process. A CAB helps review changes from more than one angle. Approvals show that the right people accepted the risk and allowed the work to move forward. Ownership gives the change a responsible person who keeps it coordinated from request through closure. Stakeholders make sure the people affected by the change, or responsible for part of its success, are not left out. As you study Security Plus, remember that change management is not just about slowing people down. It is about preventing avoidable harm during normal work. When the right people review the right information at the right time, security has a much better chance of surviving the change.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.